start a revolution of love.
All right, so that was Madonna and Hathaway. Remember that song from the 90s, What is Love? That's a great little mashup of the two songs. So thanks for joining me. I thought it was appropriate for this wonderful, wonderful weekend. Monday, June 29th, actually now at midnight, and 2015. Because this weekend, of course, as you all know, gay marriage was legalized. Yay! I can't believe it. I mean, I can believe it, but I can't believe it at the same time. It was Friday, and I woke up, and there was the ruling that gay marriage was now legal in all 50 states, all across the United States of America. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. It is incredible that we finally, after all the struggle, all of the fucking years and years and years of this fucking debate about gay marriage, whether or not it should be legal, whether or not we should have equality is what we've been arguing about under the law, if we're constitutionally guaranteed the right to marry as gay people. All of these things have been settled now. It has been ruled that, yes, we have a constitutional right, a human right to have marriage in the gay community, and we should be afforded all the same responsibilities and privileges of marriage that heterosexuals are in this country. And every state must recognize every marriage. Hold on a second. Oh, Tristan says my chat room is disabled. I wonder why. Interesting. I don't know why it's disabled, but anyway, sorry about that. I'm not sure why it's disabled, but thanks for listening, Tristan. Anyway, so it is, I'll see if I can fix that. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, I'll see if I can fix it. But anyway, yeah, so it's an incredible weekend. And of course, it was Gay Pride Month this month, and it couldn't have happened at a better time. They postponed the ruling to the very last thing, of course, and they decided that they were going to announce it last. And it's incredible because, hold on a second. It's incredible because we have been so... Sorry, I was doing another thing there. We've been working so hard with this for so long. Now, it's incredible that it's happened because we have been struggling for so long, but also, because we've been struggling for so long, it's happened. Of course, as you know, Proposition 8 was the beginning of sort of the end of the anti-gay marriage clauses or laws throughout the states, because once the Supreme Court ruled against that, and then, of course, Windsor versus the United States or whatever, and then now the Supreme Court had to rule on these other cases as well. They've decided that it is, of course, valid that we get married. So anyway, I'm really happy about it. I was going to do a show Friday, but I decided I'd wait and see what some of the reactions were to the ruling. And of course, the Twitter sphere and Facebook and everything else went crazy. The conservatives' heads are just blowing up, which makes me laugh. It's cracking me up because they're so pissed off that gay marriage is now legal in all 50 states, regardless of what they say or want. So, immediately after it happened, Texas and a couple other states, some of the governors and some of the particular counties decided that they weren't going to issue marriage licenses to gay people immediately, because they said they wanted to wait and see what was said about it by the government or whatever, what their directives were as agents of the government or federal government or whatever. And so because of that, they had to wait, and they had to decide whether or not they were going to do it anytime soon. Dallas County, where I live, immediately issued licenses, as well as I think Bexar County, several counties, and like Austin County or not Austin County, I think it's called Bear or something else. But anyway, where Austin is, where Dallas is, where Houston is, the counties in those locations pretty much began to do it immediately. The places in between, in the middle of the state, the kind of the more podunk areas of the state, some did and some didn't and wouldn't. And so one instance was there was a lesbian couple, I think it was Smith County, Texas, which is a small area of Texas. A lesbian couple went to get their marriage license at the registrar's office in their county, and the woman said, "Sorry, we can't give those out to you because we don't have a form for that." because, and the lady said, well, just cross out male and put female, female. She says, no, I can't do that. I can't change a promulgated form. We have to wait till the new forms come out. And we don't have the forms, so I won't be doing that today. And so she was just doing whatever she could to not allow them to marry. And of course, at the same time, these two women did not realize that the state of Texas has put, and the federal government too, have put a new form that can be utilized by registrar's offices throughout the states, or throughout the state, as soon as the ruling was announced. So this woman may or may not have known that. Regardless, I'm sure she was trying to impede them from getting married, but the fact is there is a form available for this, and all she had to do was print it out from the internet. So regardless, there are all these people still trying their hardest to prevent us from continuing to get married. Greg Abbott, who is the governor of Texas, who's a complete and utter moron. I mean, even worse than George Bush was, believe it or not, if you can believe that. He's just a hideous person. Or Perry. He has said, it doesn't matter what they say, God's laws is man and woman, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that this doesn't happen in the great state of Texas and bullshit like that. And Texas is we have a reputation in Texas for being rebels, rebellious, and whatever, which I think is true. It's kind of ingrained in us if you're born here, to be kind of rebellious or whatever. But I think that it's also suspicious of government and those sorts of things. But Texas has to remember these Texans, these conservative, moronic Texans who hate gays so much and don't want us to get married, have to realize that we are not a sovereign state. We haven't been a sovereign state since 1888 or whenever it was we became part of the Union again. We reapplied to be part of the United States after the Civil War, so we have to follow the federal laws. The other thing is these states do not recognize or realize, sorry about that, is that we have to follow the laws of the federal government. The states do not usurp the power of the federal government. The federal government is king. Okay, that's the way our nation has been set up. That's the way it's been working for a very, very long time. And it is not acceptable for states to say, I'm not going to follow the directives of the federal government. Texas, for some reason, feels that it's acceptable for them to do that. And so they're doing everything they can, as well as I think Alabama, Mississippi, a couple other states, to prevent gays from getting married still. But ultimately, it is completely irrelevant what they really are trying to accomplish or what they're trying to do, or what they're saying, because as we all know, it's been ruled on by the judicial branch of government. We have the legislative branch, we have the executive branch, and we have the judicial branch of government. There's a reason we have three branches of government. So no one government has too much power. And because of that setup we have in this country, these things have to be handled in the way they're handled by the particular entities. These types of cases go through the court systems and move up, and then they're ultimately decided by the Supreme Court of the United States of America, and they decide the final say on these things. The executive branch is just there to carry out, and to make law or whatever, and then the judicial branch is there to interpret it. So it's not like, anything has changed, but people seem to forget that you have to follow the fucking law of the United States of America. And I don't really understand why people have such an issue with gay marriage anyway, obviously, but most of the time it's of course, religious. And there were even, of course, you probably heard reports of the pastor or whatever trying to, he was saying he was going to set himself on fire if gays were allowed to marry, or if the Supreme Court ruled that we were able to marry. And he then backtracked when we were able to marry as of Friday and said, well, I never really meant that I was going to set myself on fire. I just meant that I would be in the fire of damnation or some shit like that. I don't know what the fuck he said, but some fucking bullshit, moronic nonsense. So I think it's, interesting that we have these people still just so fucking pissed off at us and hating us so much that they just really want us to, to not be able to get married. But a lot of people are getting married. A lot of people got married in Dallas and all over the state of Texas, as well as throughout the nation on Friday and Saturday. And it's incredibly heartwarming, and it's fantastic that at this long struggle we finally have reached this milestone in our struggle for equality. Of course, it's not over. We have other things to accomplish. We've got gay marriage legalized now. Now what? What's next? What happens next? And a lot of people say or think or feel that the gay rights movement has all just been about getting gay marriage, and once you've got the gay marriage rights, that's it. But truthfully, it's about much more than just gay marriage, and it's about full equality under the law. So yes, now we have gay marriage, we have all the same rights, etc. But there are benefits. There are other things that people need to realize that we have to still fight for in terms of equal protection under the law in housing, equal protection under the law in employment and throughout the nation, and having some sort of amendment or adding us to the amendment that protects people of race, color, creed, et cetera, religion from discrimination, adding us to that amendment, being sexual orientation is also included in that, and also sexual gender identity. These things should be included as well. Also, beyond just the gay rights movement itself, we have to continue to realize that, we have the GLBTQIA community, and now there's like a 2 on the end of it or something. There's all these acronyms, and we keep adding more and more acronyms to our fight, and that's okay with me if it makes sense, right? But we have gays and lesbians. When gays and lesbians, of course, have a great Tristan, I opened the chat room. I'm in the chat room right now, and I'm talking in there, chat. So I'm not sure why you can't get in there, but I'm in there right now, and I'm chatting away. So it may just be your computer or I'm not sure. But anyway, so we still have things to fight for. And so we have the gay and lesbians who have garnered the majority of the rights in the LGBT, rights movement, for our community, because we've been the most visible and the most, I don't know, recognizable of the community. But there's also bi people who are part of our community as well. But GLBT, the T, of course, standing for transgender or transsexual, depending on who you ask. Transgender, I think, is a more appropriate term. I think they really do not have the same equality that gays and lesbians have. They're not on the same level as we have at the moment. And so I think that they definitely need to have, I think they need to be the next on the list. And so in terms of actually being able to acquire the same rights that we as gays and lesbians have, in terms of being able to get married and things like that. I think, I'm not sure actually it doesn't include, it says gays and lesbians, or you can't deny people based on the right of being gay or lesbian, but I don't believe it said anything about transgender people. And I don't know, some states recognize people of a transgender person as their new sex, and other people recognize them as their old sex, and other people don't recognize them at all. So I think that's the next kind of frontier in our fight for equality. I think they certainly do need to be able to somehow figure that out. But anyway, so, after we've climbed this hurdle of gay marriage, I think the next thing is, of course, transgender rights, as I said. Also, just kind of remembering, as I said, to get equality in every way under the law, the same kind of protections from that other minorities in this country have, as African Americans, immigrants, or anybody, or just people who are here. Anybody that's here have the same equality under the law and the constitutional rights that we should be afforded, so that we are treated the same. And that's what it's all about. That's what it's always been about, simply being treated the same, equally. And I don't understand why that concept is so fucking difficult for people to grasp. When you say you want equality, it means you want equality. And of course, most of the problem is religion and people who have been have had their brains brainwashed by their religious belief systems, and are continuing to harp on what they were taught as a child and so forth, instead of actually using their fucking brain. And actually, people don't typically know gay people who are like that. They have, we gay people, gay, lesbian, whatever, have been vilified by media, society, movies, films, churches, of course, and people like that, and have been painted in a particular light, when in reality we are something far better, more magnificent than that could ever be. And very, 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 very few people actually resemble the caricature that is painted of we as gay people in a stereotypical fashion. Typically, we're just normal people like everybody else. So anyway, I think it's really great that we have gay rights in all 50 states now. It now means that my marriage is recognized. We got married in Connecticut in 2009, and so our marriage is now recognized by the state of Texas where we live, whether they like it or not. All taxes, all estate, all Social Security inheritances, and